Bonjour gators and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Game of the year. Before we start handing out imaginary trophies, let's answer one thing. What actually makes a game of the year? I mean, every single YouTuber and their uncle's dog seems to have their own list. So here's the deal. There isn't just one official game of the year. The most widely recognized one is called the Game Awards, which started in 2014. And it's basically gaming's version of the Oscars. But before that, Game of the Year awards came from a mix of different places. IGN, GameSpot, BAFTA, Golden Joystick, and even magazines like Electronic Gaming Monthly. So let's start from the beginning, where the Game of the Years mainly came from magazines and early websites. In 1988, the Game of the Year was Super Mario Bros. 3. Now this game came out on the NES, which was one of the most popular consoles back then. The genre of the game was a platformer. It's pretty self-explanatory, but just in case you didn't know. For 8-bit, it was a colourful explosion with detailed sprites, all distinct and charming. The gameplay was tight with responsive controls, with tons of creative level design and power-ups, most notably the Tanuki Leaf. Then we jump all the way to 1997. I apologise for jumping between years, but sometimes there's just no concrete winner, and doing research on this has been very hard since most of these early websites have been completely shut down. So again, 1997, it was GoldenEye 007. It was an FPS shooter that came out on the Nintendo 64, and at the time, the graphics were seen as surprisingly realistic and had great character models and environments for the N64, especially with lighting effects and smooth animations. It had some polygonal charm. Playing it now, the graphics can definitely look outdated, but at the time it was great, and it's not too bad that it's unplayable. The gameplay revolutionized console FPS controls with auto-aim and a variety of mission styles that defined couch gaming for a generation. Then we jump to 2001. Halo Combat Evolved. This came out on the original Xbox, and Halo was a massive hit. It's an FPS with stunning sci-fi visuals, especially for its time. Vast alien landscapes, detailed character models, and impressive particle effects, especially on the original Xbox hardware. Just looking back at the old UI, there's something so cool about it. That mid-2000s UI for sci-fi gun games just look incredible. The gameplay introduced regenerating shields, vehicle combat, and a seamless mix of gunplay and exploration. The AI enemy behavior was smart and engaging, setting a new FPS standard, and the multiplayer split screen and the LAN were an instant hit. Next, in 2003, there was an award, games recognized by BAFTA and Golden Joystick. Just for this year though, and it was Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. The graphics were dated by today's standards, but charming in its design with detailed character portraits. The gameplay had deep RPG mechanics, choice-driven dialogue, and lightsaber combat that let you pick your path on the light or dark side. The story twist still surprises new players. This game made Star Wars fans argue about canon for years. And I'm not talking about the cameras, do you know what I mean? Then in 2004 we go back to the magazines and early websites, with the game of the year being Half-Life 2. Half-Life 2 came out on PC, Xbox, and eventually Xbox 360. It was a story-driven FPS. The graphics were cutting edge. Source Engine brought realistic physics, detailed environments, and facial animations that made characters feel alive. City 17 felt oppressive yet believable. The gameplay contained innovative physics-based puzzles and combat, use of the iconic gravity gun to manipulate the world creatively, and tightly woven storytelling that didn't rely on cutscenes. Then in 2005, we had Resident Evil 4. This came out on the GameCube, but later on, the PS2, the PC, the Wii, and has now been remastered on several consoles. It's a survival horror action game, and at the time, it was considered to have highly detailed character models and atmospheric lighting that ramped up the tension. The over-the-shoulder camera was revolutionary, offering better aiming and immersion. And watching some of the gameplay now, I think the inventory management was very creative. You didn't just have 8 slots. Some things would take up more slots, like a sword, because it was so long, would take up 3 to 4 slots. Then we jump to 2006, with another game recognized by BAFTA and the Golden Joystick Awards. The Elder Scrolls 4: Oblivion. This came out on the Xbox 360, the PC, and the PS3, and it was an open-world RPG. The graphics contained an expansive world with rolling hills, dense forests, and cities full of NPCs with immersive AI routines for the time. Facial animations were unique. As I said, it was a massive open world. You had freedom to explore and do countless quests. Combat was a bit clunky, but the world's depth made up for it. Once again, back to the magazines and the websites. It's a bit jumpy at the beginning, but as we get to later on, they'll all be defined by the same company. But 2007 was BioShock. It was an immersive simulator slash FPS. It contained gorgeous art deco, underwater cities with eerie, decayed, and beautiful atmospheric lighting that created a creepy mood. Characters had expressive faces and detailed environments. The gameplay was a mix of traditional FPS combat with unique powers called plasmids, which let you fry enemies with electricity, or turn them into turrets. The choice and consequence in the story also added a lot of weight. Again, I jump back to the BAFTA and Golden Joystick Awards for the 2008 Game of the Year, Fallout 3. It's considered an open world RPG. Post-apocalyptic Washington DC with ruined landmarks and dusty wastelands, atmospheric lighting and detailed weapon designs. Survival and moral choices affected the experience deeply. Again, back to the magazines. I don't have anything for 2009, but in 2010, the game was considered to be Red Dead Redemption. Coming out on the PS3 and the Xbox 360, this game contained a vast, beautiful open world with realistic weather, detailed NPCs, and stunning sunsets. The horse animations and wildlife behavior were next level for the time. All of that combined with shooting, horseback riding, and a gripping story, interaction with the world felt natural and alive. Back to BAFTA and the Golden Joystick Awards, it's gonna stop soon. In 2011, Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim, another open world RPG. Beautiful snowy mountains, lush forests, and ancient ruins. Improved facial animations from Oblivion, though still a bit wonky at times. Vast worlds full of dragons, magic, and endless quests. Flexible character builds and dynamic combat kept players hooked for hundreds of hours. Still with the recognized awards, in 2012 we have The Walking Dead. The graphics were very cool. Stylized comic book inspired visuals with strong art direction that emphasized mood over realism. The gameplay focused on player choices and story with minimal action, dialogue, and quick time. Dialogue and quick time events were the main mechanics. Then the last magazine slash early website entry before we actually get to the recognized awards. In 2013 we had The Last of Us, a PlayStation exclusive, first coming out on the PS3. It was an action adventure with gritty realistic environments with amazing character detail and facial expressions that conveyed raw emotion. Lightning and weather added to the atmosphere. The gameplay included stealth, crafting, and intense gunfights with a strong focus on story and character relationships. Every encounter felt meaningful and tense. Then we finally get to the Game Award winners. From now on, these are all recognized achievements. In 2014, to start off the Game of the Year was Dragon Age Inquisition. It had beautiful fantasy environment with detailed armor and character models, though some animations could arguably be stiff. It was an open world exploration game combined with tactical combat and party management, some pacing issues, but a rich story and a vast world. In 2015, it was The Witcher 3, coming out on the PS4, Xbox One, the PC, and later the Switch. Stunning landscapes, weather effects, and highly detailed characters that brought the fantasy world to life, with a deep RPG system containing meaningful choices, fluid swordplay, magic, and monster hunting. Side quests often felt like main stories. Then in 2016, it was Overwatch. It came out on the PC, PS4, Xbox One, and had bright, cartoonish, and clean visuals with distinct character designs that pop on screen. It was an online multiplayer FPS with countless characters, all with different abilities. It was highly addictive and very competitive. Now you might have noticed that although Nintendo are normally seen as one of the big three, they haven't been included in any of the Game of the Years in quite a while. But they've come back, because in 2017 the Game of the Year was given to Zelda Breath of the Wild, which originally came out on the Wii U but was a Switch Day 1 release. For a system that was falling behind the other consoles, the graphics were beautiful, with a cel-shaded art style, with a vibrant living world full of weather effects and physics-based interactions. There was open world freedom with climbing, gliding, cooking, and creative puzzle solving. And there's so much to do in this game, you could be playing it for hundreds of hours without completing it. In 2018, we got God of War as the Game of the Year, another PlayStation exclusive. It had gorgeous cinematic visuals with detailed character models, realistic lighting, and fluid animation. The gameplay contained tight, visceral combat mixed with puzzle solving and exploration. The over-the-shoulder camera brought immersion and intimacy into Kratos' story. Then in 2019, it was Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, coming out on the Xbox One, the PS4, and then PC. Detailed feudal Japan settings with a realistic lighting and animations, with fast and fluid character movement. The punishing combat focused on parries, timing, and precision rather than stats. The game demands skill and patience, and it rewards perseverance. Then in 2020, the Game of the Year was seen as The Last of Us Part 2, a sequel to one of the previous Game of the Years. The graphics stepped up with near photorealistic visuals and incredibly detailed characters and environments. It pushed the PS4 hardware to the limit, and it looks even better on the new PS5. The gameplay had intense stealth and combat with upgraded AI and environmental storytelling. It Takes Two was crowned as the 2021 Game of the Year, coming out on virtually every single console. It was unique at the time because only one person had to purchase the game. As long as they had it, they can invite any friend to play with them. I spent countless hours watching Simon and Talia finish the whole game in all their VODs, and when I finally got to play it for myself, it was mesmerizing. The graphics were bright, colourful and whimsical, with creative environments that change with each level. It was innovative co-op platforming with unique mechanics requiring teamwork, puzzle solving and humour, perfect for couples or friends. Then in 2022, the Game of the Year was Elden Ring, coming out on again virtually every console at the time. It was a huge open world with gorgeous fantasy environments, dynamic weather and terrifying boss design, Souls-like combat, horseback combat and deep lore exploration, punishing but rewarding. Then in 2023, it was God of War Ragnarok, another PlayStation exclusive coming out on the PS4 and PS5. The graphics improved on the original with even more detailed characters, with refined combat, emotional storytelling and a bigger world to explore. The relationship between Kratos and Arceus remains in the heart. Then the final Game of the Year that I'm going to be talking about today was Astro Bot in 2024, another PlayStation exclusive. It was first a demo game launched with the PS5 to show all the new things you could do on it, but players loved it, so they decided to make a proper game out of it, and it was amazing. A platformer with many things to do, all with the story of rebuilding a PS5 and getting different parts through every level. The graphics are amazing and refined, and now it's seen as one of the main selling points for buying a PlayStation. So there you have it. It's not a competition, but PlayStation has definitely won with their exclusives, although most of the Game of the Years are cross-platform. Again, with some of the earlier games, please do or don't quote me if I'm wrong. I don't know if I can take it. I'll see when we get there, because it's very hard to determine what they actually were. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later, famalam.